Okay, so what we're doing here is installing some of these little brass inserts. These are M3 brass inserts, and we have a printed part here. And we know that we're probably going to be taking this thing apart a few times because it is a prototype, and we don't want to strip out the plastic threads. Now, when you print holes for a particular size of bolt, in this case M3s, you make them a little smaller in your design, and so the bolt actually kind of sinks itself in when you tighten it, and it kind of makes it fit firmly. But this is an M3 brass insert. If I can hold this right here, and we're going to use a soldering iron to melt these down into the print. Now, there's different formats of these that you can get, but typically what I do is I will get my bolt and go ahead and screw it. Just don't tighten it, but get it all the way through where it's poking just a little bit out of the insert there. The reason you do this is because you're going to be melting this plastic. And when you do that, the plastic tends to suck itself up the tube. And if you do that, then it messes your threads up, and you just have a grand mess. And so there are inserts that you can attach to your soldering iron, or just replace the tip of your soldering iron with an insert that fits exactly into these. But I have never really found that as effective. So what I do is, I'll hold these in and you should really turn your soldering iron temp down. I'm not doing that here either. But I get it lined up, and then I heat the actual screw, or the bolt, and then as you see the heat is transferring, it's gonna go fast, so be careful, and use your tweezers here to kind of guide it, because we want to make sure that this is absolutely vertical, right? And we want the top of the insert to be flush with our print. And so, okay, we can see that it's melting down in now. And go ahead and keep pushing, and remember it'll start running. Now, once we get down to about the level of our print, I want to pull the heat off. What I want to do now is go ahead and put in a driver and make sure that we are vertical here. And can I use this to press the plastic up against the teeth within the insert, and then very gently turn it so those teeth kind of grip into the plastic. And understand that this is still very hot right now. Do not touch the bolt. It'll get you. And then I push the plastic around, making sure that this is setting down into those teeth, and everything is still within the constraints of our print as we want it. And these things will hold heat. So hold on. Make sure that we have it flush with the top of our print. Everything's looking good. And then let's check our vertical one more time. And you don't have to use a level here, really. Just you can kind of eyeball it. Make sure that we're tight, and then we want to leave it alone. Don't touch it for a minute. And we're gonna let this go ahead and cool down. And then, I'll wait for a second here. You can see here's two others that I've done, and you can see that they sit flush. And if I get one of these guys, you can kind of see. Let me push this over here real quick. See if we can do this. So you can see just a little bit of PETG on the thread, on the very tip of the thread, but everything else, these threads kept these clean, which is good. It's what we wanted. And so these will thread. They should just thread in perfectly. Maybe. Wasn't very graceful, huh? Yeah. And so not an issue at all. And you still don't want to see, you could tell that there's still just a little bit. I'm hitting the end right there where it's going out the bottom of the insert. We know that, but these are designed so we have another case on top, so it's never going to get that low. And so that's the depth, that's the max depth that you're ever going to get with one of these. Well, as long as you're using it correctly. And so we're good. So what that means is I can add the lid on now, or once I get the rest of these done, add the lid on and tighten that down. We won't be bottoming out, and you still don't want to completely crank it, but this should allow us to very easily, take the lid off, remove these bolts, put them back in without wearing out the threads in the print. So a little trick here. Okay, so it's still a little warm, but this is cooled down. What I want to do, and remember, I did not really tighten this. I want to very quickly just break it. And what that tends to do is, with that kind of jerking action, it allows me to go ahead and get this bolt out, and it doesn't turn these teeth the way that we have them melted into the print. And just, we can kind of pop it like that. And at least that's the method that's worked for me. I don't know. Your results may vary. But, yeah, that's all there is to putting brass inserts in. And I think it kind of classes up the joint.